So I thought I'd do a quick video on how I clean up my Presto GranPappy or FryDaddy or DualDaddy, whatever you got. It's not very complicated, and that a lot of people use the same system or something similar to it. So the oil here is still fairly warm, but not so hot it's going to burn me, and especially not so hot it's going to melt when I'm going to pour it in. So all I'm going to do is transfer all the oil into another container right up until I start getting the grit that's settled to the bottom. So when I start to see all that grit start to pour out, I stop because I don't want that going into my oil. That'll save me a lot of time replacing filters because that'll clog it up real quick. With that remaining oil that's in there, which is probably about 2 tablespoons, I just take a paper towel that I've used to wipe it down and let it soak up the rest of the oil. That way I don't, we've got a septic tank, so I don't really want to put that in my septic tank to clog up field lines and stuff like that. But even if you're on a city sewer, it's best not to put cooking oil down the drain. So then I'll just get one more paper towel, soak up what's left. Alright, so stir oily film, plenty of grit in there, but I've gotten most of the free oil, so I'll throw this away. Alright, so now I'm going to wash this really good with soap. Now on a FryDaddy, you don't really have to worry about getting them wet. You don't want to dunk the electronics down here and the element that's up in there. But if you just stay careful about getting water in here and dumping it out and letting water run down the side, but not turning it over and letting water run up that way, they do fine. And it gets so hot, the next time you turn it on, any residual moisture, it'll evaporate. So anyway, just don't dunk it. Alright, so all I'm going to do is run some hot water in. Give it a good scrub. Now over time, these things, if you don't wash them, they just get splattery oil on them, and then the next time you cook, those splatters turn into sticky grease, and it just piles up until eventually it's nasty. But if you do this every time you cook, when you bring it out to cook, it's in really good shape. Now mine has some tackiness stuff on it because I got it used, but it hadn't gotten any worse, and it's gotten a little bit better over time. Alright, now when I rinse it out, all I want to do is hold it to where it's slightly draining, and then I get the sprayer and rinse it out that way. There's several different ways. Like I said, you just don't want to run it under the water and unnecessarily get a bunch of water into the bottom where you can't dry it off. All I'm going to do here is get my sprayer, have it tilted. There we go. Now I like to just rinse it a little bit on the outside, running the water towards the top. Next, I'm just going to try to get the inside really dry. If you don't do this, because I'm going to store the oil in the FryDaddy. If you don't do this and you got a little water in there, next time you go to use it, it'll be popping. And it won't hurt anything, but it will just pop until all the water's gone. So it's best to actually take a paper towel, dry the inside out real good, or you don't have to wait for it to air dry. All right, now I'm ready to put the oil back in, and you can see I got some grit in there, right? So this is what I use, just a wire basket strainer. I want a bun style coffee filter, and I couldn't find these in the grocery store this size. It's not the regular 12 cup coffee filter for your home. It's from the commercial size bun coffee makers, and you can get like 1,000 of them for $10 on Amazon. But anyway, they fit this strainer really well. So I just lay that across. Now remember, when we started, the oil was warm to hot. That really helps this go a lot faster. Hot oil flows through a filter a whole lot faster than room temperature or cold oil. So all I do is fill up my filter, and it's not exactly level, so I'm just gonna quit pouring. I'm gonna level this up where I can pour it a little bit deeper. There we go. See, it's already drained about an inch, but that'll slow down with as the filter gets clogged, and it'll also slow down as the oil level gets lower in the filter. So anyway, pour it all the way to the top and go do something else. That'll probably take about 10-15 minutes to get through. And all I really want to do is get to the point where I can get it low enough and pour the rest of my oil into the filter, and then I can go to bed and clean this up in the morning. But at the end of the day, or the end of when it's done, you throw away the filter. You're left with oil with no remaining fish fry batter, and then you can put the lid on your FryDaddy, store it. It keeps a long time, probably keeps forever, because you're losing a little bit of oil every time you cook. So, you know, over time, if you're frying every now and then, you'll eventually just replace the oil that you're using. Okay, so a little time has passed. You can see the oil is not going down as fast. At this point, it's mainly from it getting clogged up with the kind of the first flush of grit and stuff in the batter. So what I'm going to do is change the filter. I certainly don't want to put this into my FryDaddy because that'll mix the dirty oil with the clean oil. So what I'm going to do is bring this over, and it's still streaming. I usually try to wait for it to be dripping. But what I'll do, I will just move that under, bring it over, and just pour it out slowly. Again, you don't want all that grit going back into here either, or you want to minimize it because it'll clog up your next filter. Right. Alright, so now I just take my clean filter, put it in there, go back to pouring. Again, they don't really want to stay in until you get them wet with oil. So a lot of times you just want to fill it a little bit. Let the oil push the filter out to the sides. And then just do a little bit of corrections to get it level, where you can use the whole filter. There we go. Now you can hear it. It's just dripping pretty fast now. Alright, so just got that much oil left. We'll have that much out of this filter in no time. Then I can pour the rest out and go do something else. When I come back to it, it'll just be it won't be dripping anymore. There'll be a little bit of oil in the bottom of the filter and it'll be done. There we go. And again, just gonna wipe that edge, wipe the inside to get as much oil as I can in the trash, not down the sink. And that's it. I'll let that drain and fry again next time. Alright, so here it is the next morning. Just been letting it sit all night. Just got a little bit of oil in there and that's it. The rest of it is good and clean. No grit. And from there, before I put it up, there is a line in here where you're supposed to fill oil up to. If you have a FryDaddy, I'm sure you know about it. I usually go ahead and take a little vegetable oil or peanut oil or whatever you're using and go ahead and fill it up to that line, but right now I am out. So anyway, we'll go ahead and store with the lid, cord, put her up for next time. Well, I hope this streamlines your process a little. It's not, anything groundbreaking, but it's a good process, and the best thing I like about it is that it minimizes the prep work for the next time you cook. Also, you don't want to cook breakfast food like beignets or something in this fish oil. Fish flavored beignets are not the best. I've tried them. Separate your oil, and if you do switch back and forth, it's probably better to store the clean oil in a reused plastic container, and then have them labeled for whatever you cook them in, because that oil will take on the flavor of the foods you cook it in. And it's okay to cook French fries in the fish oil, but other things it's not.